Hello everyone, welcome to the first book haul video I've had on my channel. I'm very excited to share these books with you. These are all the books that I've accumulated since Christmas. A lot of them is because of Christmas money. One of them has not come in the mail yet. I'm still waiting on it, but I couldn't wait to record this video any longer. I need to do it while I have the time. There's 40 plus books on here, so I don't have the time to share synopsises for all of them because we'd be here forever if I did that, and this would be a really long video. Before we get started, if you end up liking this video, consider hitting the like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. I post on Fridays. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with the 3 books that I got from the Book of the Month Club. The first one is First Lie Wins. I'm actually in the middle of reading this one and I'm really enjoying it so far. Then I chose The Fury by Alex Michaelides. And then as an add-on, I got The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. This is the sequel to The Maid, which I enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. And then keeping on with the thrillers, I also got The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I really enjoy her work, and so I'm very excited to read this one. This is one of my most anticipated books for this year. I got a YA thriller called That's Not My Name, and this one sounds very intriguing. It's a new release that just came out at the beginning of January. Same with The Heiress. They both came out like the first week. Then I got One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. I read The Hike by this author, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and so I wanted to try something else by this author, and it seems like it's going to be a fun summer read. And then I got The Sight by Melanie Golden. This one also looks summery because it takes place around a carnival, which just kind of gives me summery vibes. I have one more YA thriller that hasn't come in the mail yet, but I'm going to just show you the cover here on the screen. So this one's called Liar's Beach, and it sounds like it's going to be interesting. I really want to read the sequel, which sounds amazing, and it's coming out this year, so I want to get to this one soon. Then we have The Quiet Retreat by Kirsten Moglen. And this one I've already read. I read it in January, so look for my thoughts in my January wrap-up. Okay, next I have a couple of romances and then a lit fic. This one's The Mistletoe Motive, so this is a Christmas romance, so I'll be holding on to this till December. I was kind of surprised by how thin it is. It's not a very long one, which is pretty nice around December time because you get so busy. And then I have a YA romance called Dungeons and Drama. This one just sounds so cute. My husband plays D&D, and I am not a drama nerd. I am way too scared to do anything like that. I did take drama in junior high, and I had to put on a play, and it was terrifying and scary, and I sucked at it. But it just sounds really cute to have this like drama geek wanting to date this little D&D nerd, and I think it will be really cute. And then I have Fangirl, which I know is a favorite of a lot of people's, and I've just never read it, never got around to it, never really heard of it until a couple years ago actually. So I'm excited to hopefully read this one this year. And then I've bought some manga. I have the 2nd and 3rd volume of PTSD Radio. I already own the first copy. I haven't read it yet, but I figured now would be the time to get the next 2 in the series and hopefully binge them. I hear this is really scary, and I've looked at some of the artwork and it looks really cool, and I'm excited to read it. And then I also bought all of Erased. So I got Erased Volume 1 and 2, and I'm dropping them everywhere. There's just too many to hold on to. They're just so big. Number 3, and then number 4. So there is a 5th one. I didn't know until I bought it that it doesn't really have to do with the series. It's more like a perspective of different characters from the series and what was going through their head at certain times. So it doesn't really, it's almost like an add-on almost. But anyways, I already binged all these in January, so when I do my wrap-up, you'll see my thoughts on this. Okay, now we're going to get into some science fiction. The first one is a short little novella. It's called The Scourge Between Stars. So I've heard a lot of great things about this. This is like a first contact alien invasion story, and it seems really interesting. I think this is sci-fi horror, so I'm excited to get to that one. Then I have Beta by Sammy Scott, and this sounds like it's going to be like a technology gone wrong type thing where they have this AI living at their house, but it starts to malfunction or something. It Kind of gives me Megan vibes if you've seen that movie, so I was intrigued by this. Then I have Salvaged, and I've read some YA horror by this author, but when I saw that she had a sci-fi book out, I thought that would be interesting to read. Then I have The Rig by Roger Levy, and I didn't realize till it came in the mail how thick this is. It's humongous, which is kind of scary, but it sounds good. So I'm excited to read it, but also kind of anxious. Then I have Princess of Dune. This just barely came out, and I am a huge, huge fan of Dune. I've read all of the other books, except for the trilogy that just came out. I read, what is it called? Duke of Caladan, and it honestly just feels like a filler. So when Lady of Caladan and Heir of Caladan came out, I just didn't bother reading those ones. But I've read everything else, both by Frank Herbert and by his son and Kevin Anderson. I've read all of them and I love them all. And I'm a little bit anxious to read this because I don't know if it's going to have that same filler vibe where it's not going to actually add that much to the world building or to the characters. But I love the cover. I think it's beautiful. And I'm just excited to get back into the world of Dune, especially with the second movie coming out. I think it's just going to be fun to enter that world again. So hopefully, even if it does fall a little bit flat, maybe it will still be a fun time. This was like $30 though, so it was an expensive book. So I'm hoping it doesn't disappoint me. Now we're going to get into the horror books, which honestly is the biggest stack that I have. I have 2 middle grade. They're the start of a series. One's called Redwood, and then one's called Fearground. So again, this one has like a carnival, so it'll be fun in the summer. This is the sequel. And then this one will be good for September because it has like a school setting. So these ones, I love the covers. They sounded fun and interesting, and I'm excited to get to them. And then I went to Barnes & Noble last night, and I picked up The Invocations. This is a YA. I don't know if it's horror. I think it might be dark fantasy, but it has horror elements, I think. So anyways, this just barely came out yesterday and I was excited to get it. Crystal Sutherland is the same author that did The Hollow Kind. Not The Hollow Kind. House of Hollows. And so I really liked that book. I thought it was really interesting. It's about changelings. And I really liked the way she wrote. I really liked the characters. So I was excited when this came out. This cover, it's so gorgeous. And this is not a dust jacket. This is actually printed on the book, which I thought was really cool. And it actually has a short story in the back from House of Hollows because this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive. And it's got these gorgeous edging. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a pink. It's really pretty. I really like it. So anyways, this is a witchy story. So there's like this girl who claims to be a witch and she can help these other 2 girls. One says she's being followed or possessed by a demon or something, and the other one, I can't remember what's going on with her. Oh yeah, one of them lost her sister and she's trying to bring her back from the dead. So this witch says that she can help them. So it sounds interesting, so I'm excited to read it. I bought Haunted and the Unleashed by Danielle Vega. This is the same author that wrote How to Survive Your Murder, and I really enjoyed that one when I read it in October. So I wanted to try something else out by this author. And this has supernatural vibes, which I always vibe with, so that's the one I chose. I do wish I had better covers. I don't like these covers. I think they're ugly, but it is what it is. This next book is actually by the same author, but it's under a pen name. So it's Danielle Rollins. She's got like 3 pen names. She's got Danielle Rollins, Danielle Vega, and Danielle Valentine, but she's all the same author. So I picked up this one as well. So last year I read Frozen Charlotte and Charlotte Says by Alex Bell, and I absolutely loved them. And they're actually part of a series called Red Eye. It's a YA horror series, so they're not written by the same authors. There's a lot of different authors, but I decided to go ahead and just get the entire series. So we have Flesh and Blood, and we got Sleepless, and Fur, and Whiteout, and Cruel Castle, Savage Island, Bad Bones, and Dark Room. And they all have this little red eye label on the side, so it would look really cool on my shelves all together. So I'm excited to get started on this series and see if I like them as much as I did Alex Bell's. Okay, so sometimes Barnes & Noble has books out early. So when I went there last night to get the Invocations, I also got another one that I haven't shown you yet. But they also had 2 other books out already that aren't supposed to be out till February 13th, but they were there, and I was super excited to get my hands on them. So the first one is What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. I really enjoyed What Moves the Dead, and this is the sequel to that, so I'm really excited to get my hands on this. I do hate paying 20 bucks though, because it's so tiny. It's only 146 pages. And so 20 bucks for like a teeny tiny novella, I think is a little bit steep. So hopefully I really love this, because it was really hard to spend that kind of money on this. And then we have The Hollow Dead by Darcy Coates. Yay! So this is my book club pick for this month, and I'm so excited to get my hands on this. I love Darcy Coates. I love this series, and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, then I have another novella called Downpour. This one, I love the cover. I think it's amazing, and I'm really excited to read this one, but it almost seems a little bit cosmic-y. It's kind of like The Mist from Stephen King. It's kind of those vibes. So it's about this rain that's like makes you crazy. So like if you get stuck in a downpour, then the rain like turns you crazy or makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do or something like that. So it sounds like it could be either really good or really weird. So I am excited to see if I end up liking this or not. Then I have A Dark Room. This is like a Southern Gothic novel. So I'm really excited. I really love Gothic tales, and I love books set in the South. I think they're really interesting. So I'm excited. I hope it has all of the Gothic vibes that I love. I really like Simone St. James. She's become an auto-buy author for me, so I decided to get the rest of her backlist titles that I haven't read yet. So we have The Other Side of Midnight, and I think these all take place in the 20s based on what they're wearing. And then we have An Inquiry into Love and Death, and Lost Among the Living. And then I have a novella that just came out. It's called The Folly. This is by Gemma Amor, and I'm hoping this has like Gothic vibes to it, and it should be like a fun, easy read. And then I have Dead 11, and I was a little bit nervous to buy this one because it's pretty long. It's like, let's see, it's like over 400 pages, and I hear it gets a little bit slow in the middle, and so I'm a little bit nervous to read this one, but at the same time, I love the 90s vibes. I love the cover, and so the premise does sound good, so I'm excited to read it. So this next one is by an author named Jamie Jo Wright, and I already own her debut novel. I haven't read it yet, but it looks really good, and it sounds really good. And I was actually looking up a different book, and I haven't really thought about her in a while, and her books popped up, and I was like, oh wow, she's written like a whole bunch of new books that I didn't even know about. And I read the premises, and they all sound amazing, and I love the covers, and it sounds right up my alley. So I decided to get a few of them. They're all dual timelines. The first one is called The Vanishing at Castle Moreau. So I'm just going to read like the beginning part, because honestly the timeline in the past is usually my favorite anyways. But it says, in 1870, orphan Daisy Franco takes a position as housemaid at a Wisconsin castle to escape the horrors of her past life. There she finds a reclusive and eccentric Gothic authoress who hides tales more harrowing than the ones in her novels. As women disappear from the area and the eerie circumstances seem to parallel a local legend, Daisy is thrust into a web that could ultimately steal her sanity, if not her life. So then in the present day, there's somebody else that comes to the dilapidated castle where this author used to live, and it sounds really interesting. I love books about authors. Then we have The Curse of Misty Wayfarer. This one says, left at an orphanage as a child, Thea Reed vowed to find her mother someday. Now grown, her search takes her to turn-of-the-century Pleasant Valley, Wisconsin. So I'm wondering if the author's from Wisconsin, because they're both set in Wisconsin. But anyways, when the clues she finds leads her to a mental asylum, Thea uses her experience as a post-mortem photographer to gain access and assist groundskeeper Simeon Coyle in photographing the patients and uncovering the secrets within. However, she never expected her personal guest would reawaken the legend of Misty Wayfair, a murdered woman who allegedly haunts the area and whose appearance portends of death. And then we have The Lost Boys of Barlow Theater. And this is Barlow Theater stole the life of Greta Mercy's eldest brother during its construction. Now, in 1915, the completed theater appears every bit as deadly. When Greta's younger brother goes missing after breaking into the building, Greta engages the assistance of a local police officer to help her unveil the already ghostly secrets of the theater. But when help comes from an unlikely source, Greta decides that to save her family, she must uncover the evil that haunts the theater and put its threat to rest. Decades later, Kit Boyd's best friend vanishes during a ghost walk at the Barlow Theater, and old stories of mysterious disappearances and ghoulish happenings are revived. Then television ghost hunting host and skeptic Evan Fisher joins Kit in the quest to identify the truth behind the theater's history. Kit reluctantly agrees to work with him in hopes of finding her missing friend. As the theater's curse unravels Kit's life, she is determined to put an end to the evil that has marked the theater and their hometown for the last century. So I thought those sounded really good and really up my alley, so I'm excited to get to them. And then last, I have a couple of books by Christopher Golden. This first one is called Strangewood, and I really liked The Hollows that I read from him in October. And this kind of gives me the same vibes. It's got this like pumpkin head man. So I thought that would be a really good one to read in October. And then, of course, I had to buy his new one that just came out yesterday, and that's The House of Last Resort. So I'm very excited for this one. This is about, apparently there's houses in Italy that you can buy for €1 and then you fix it up. And they apparently go there, but then the mother-in-law is like, you picked the wrong house because there's this curse or it's haunted or something. So I love haunted house stories and it sounds really good. I like Christopher Golden's writing, so I'm excited to get to this one hopefully soon. I also bought a bunch of YA vintage horror, but I think I'm going to save them for a different video. I have like a whole thing about vintage horror that I've bought in the last year, so I'm going to go ahead and keep them for that video, so be on the lookout for that. Okay guys, I'm back. So after I finished recording my video of all the books that I bought, I actually had this little blue box show up that my cat's fascinated by. So this is my Book of the Month Club books. So I got February's today. So I guess I have 3 more books to show you guys. So let's open this up and see what's in it. So they always give us a bookmark. And this one says, was it something I read? So this one, it's the first one. It's called Hello Girls. This is by dual authors. I think this one is a YA thriller, but I could be wrong. But I believe that's what it is. I really like Emily Henry's romances, and she co-authored this with another person, and I thought it sounded interesting, so I thought I'd give it a go. And then I always pick the thriller. This month was The Resort by Sarah, I don't know how to say that, Oakes, something. So this one kind of sounds like she started it. Sounds like it's going to be like a summary read about a couple of friends that go away to a deserted island and then stuff happens. And then I also chose the romance for the month, and it's called Ready or Not. I thought it was a really pretty cover and a great concept. So this one, oh no, well that's not good. The inside of my book looks terrible. It's got this part got like ripped and folded, so that's not good. But anyways, so this is about a woman that she got pregnant, but then she meets, well, I think she already knew this guy. He might even be the baby daddy, I'm not sure. But she meets this guy and he's like all willing to go with this pregnancy with her just to support her and help her, and then they end up falling in love. So Sounds really cute, so I thought I'd give it a try. And those are officially the last books that I have received as of this video coming out. So there we have it. That's all the books I bought in the last month and a half. So I'm excited to get to some of these this year. And I'll see you next time. Bye.